Your cat has been sending you a precise signal all morning, and you've been missing every word. Veterinary behaviorist Bonnie Beaver, in her 2003 textbook, Feline Behavior, cataloged at least 11 distinct tail states, each carrying a specific emotional or intentional meaning. Not metaphor, not guesswork. Measurable, repeatable, peer-reviewed signal. A domestic cat's tail contains between 19 and 23 vertebrae, wrapped in 18 distinct muscle groups. It's not an afterthought of anatomy. It's a dedicated broadcast antenna wired directly to emotional state. Start with the most visible signal, the fully vertical tail. When a cat approaches you with its tail pointing straight up, that's a formal greeting. Ethologist John Bradshaw confirmed in 2013 that this mirrors the posture kittens use toward their mothers. A vertical tail with a small curl at the very tip. The question mark shape adds a layer of nuance. It signals friendly approach combined with mild uncertainty. The cat is open to interaction but hasn't committed. An invitation, not a demand. Position is only half the signal. Speed of movement is the other half. Most people never realize the system has a second dimension, and missing it means reading the message backwards. A slow, low side-to-side sweep, the tail barely clearing the ground, signals deep concentration. The cat is tracking something. Its entire sensory system is locked on a target. This isn't aggression. It's the quiet before a calculated decision. Increase that speed dramatically. A fast, wide, whipping lash, and the emotional state has flipped entirely. Veterinary behaviorist Karen Overall documented this in 2013 as a reliable pre-aggression indicator. The tail is broadcasting a warning most owners ignore. Here's the counterintuitive twist. A cat can purr and lash its tail simultaneously. These signals don't cancel each other out. They coexist, meaning the animal is in genuine emotional conflict, aroused and uncomfortable at the same time. Both signals are true. The puffed tail, every hair standing perpendicular to the spine, isn't a choice. It's piloerection, an involuntary response driven by adrenaline. The cat can't suppress it any more than a startled human can stop their own goosebumps. It signals genuine fear or extreme arousal. When piloerection extends from the tail up the full spine with an arched back, the cat is performing a bluff display. It's trying to appear larger than it is. This behavior traces directly to a shared mammalian threat inflation system studied in felids since Paul Leyhausen's 1979 work. A tail carried low, below the horizontal plane of the spine, but not tucked, signals social submission or mild anxiety. In multi-cat households, lower-ranking cats default to this position around dominant individuals. It's a continuous, quiet negotiation of social space. The fully tucked tail, pulled tight beneath the body, represents the maximum fear state. The cat is making itself as small as possible. This isn't shyness. Animal behaviorist Temple Grandin noted this signal in shelter cats correlates directly with cortisol elevation, measurable in blood panels. But here's where it gets harder. A tail-tucked cat that still moves toward a human isn't contradicting itself. A 2019 study by Kristen Vitale at Oregon State University found that 65% of cats maintained attachment behavior toward a familiar caregiver, even under measurable stress. Fear signals and approach behavior running in parallel. Simultaneously true. The tail wrap, When a cat drapes its tail over your leg, arm, or another cat's body, has no equivalent in wild feline behavior. It appears to have emerged specifically during domestication. A 2004 genetic study by Carlos Driscoll and colleagues traced domestic cat origins to Near Eastern wildcats, a lineage diverging at least 10,000 years ago. The quivering tail is the highest intensity positive signal in the entire system. The tail stands fully vertical and vibrates rapidly without sweeping. Cats direct this almost exclusively at humans they're deeply bonded to. It appears to be an adult retention of a kitten-to-mother greeting behavior. Position and speed are two variables. The third and most overlooked is curl pattern and tip micromovement. The tail's tip can move independently of its base, adding signal precision that ethologist Martine Hausberger at the University of Rennes began systematically cataloging in a 2012 comparative feline communication study. An isolated tip flick, only the last few centimeters of the tail moving, signals low-level irritation. The rest of the tail stays still. Think of it as the feline equivalent of a controlled, deliberate eye roll. The cat is tolerating something. Barely. In 1988, ethologist Dennis Turner published interaction studies showing that cats consistently adjust their tail behavior based on whether a human is watching them. They modulate the signal by perceived audience. This isn't simple instinct. It suggests a level of social awareness researchers didn't expect. Turner's finding was extended in a 2015 follow-up by Atsuko Saito at the University of Tokyo, which showed cats not only modulate tail signals by audience, but also track the direction of a human's gaze before deciding whether to signal at all. They're not just expressing a feeling, they're checking first whether you're looking. The tail never operates alone. It integrates with ear position and pupil dilation into a single unified signal system. A vertical tail paired with forward ears and narrow pupils means confident approach. The same vertical tail with flattened ears and dilated pupils means something has gone wrong. Humans misread tail signals partly because of evolutionary mismatch. Dogs wag their tails as a general arousal signal. We apply that framework to cats. But feline tail movement is direction-specific, speed-specific, and position-specific. The dog model actively misleads us. A 2021 study at the University of Lincoln found that veterinary staff trained to read cat tail signals reduced handling-related aggression incidents by 31%. The cats had been signaling discomfort the entire time. The staff simply hadn't been trained to see it. But here's a genuine complication in the science. Cats with naturally shortened or absent tails, Manx cats, Japanese bobtails, compensate with amplified body and ear signals. They're not communicating less. They're redistributing the signal load across a different channel. That redistribution has measurable evidence behind it. A 2017 observational study by Sandra McCune at the Waltham Center for Pet Nutrition found that Manx cats produce ear position changes at roughly 1.4 times the frequency of tailed cats during equivalent social interactions. The communicative load quantifiably shifted, not lost. A cat that walks toward you with a vertical, quivering tail is making a deliberate social bid, responding by crouching to its level and offering a slow blink matches the register of that bid. You're answering in the same frequency. A cat showing an isolated tip flick during petting is at the edge of tolerance. Stopping at that signal before the full lash, before the scratch, builds trust faster than any amount of additional contact. The cat learns you're reading it. That changes everything. In multi-cat households, tail positions create a continuous, real-time social map. The cat carrying its tail lowest isn't sad, it's navigating a hierarchy. Recognizing which cat consistently tucks around which other cat identifies the stress point in the household's social structure. A 2019 survey by the International Cat Care Charity found that 60% of cat owners correctly identified a tail-up greeting, but only 14% correctly identified the tip flick irritation signal. Owners weren't indifferent. They were systematically undertrained on the system's finer resolution, the part that matters most in daily interaction. Here's what makes that gap stranger. A 2020 study by Peter Pomgratz at Aarhus University found that humans who had never owned a cat read tail signals nearly as accurately as experienced owners. Familiarity alone doesn't build literacy. You have to learn the vocabulary deliberately, the same way you'd learn any language. Researchers at the University of Veterinary Medicine Vienna are currently building the first cross-species feline tail signal database across 23 domestic and wild cat species. Their preliminary data show the vertical greeting tail appears in 11 of those species, suggesting the signal is far older than domestication itself. Tonight, watch the tail. Not the face, not the ears, the tail first. Give it 30 seconds of real attention. You'll realize your cat has been fluent in a language the whole time, patiently waiting for you to learn even a single word.